Hey guys, this is Steve Rozenberg, and today what I want to talk about is the mistake of managing your rental properties like a hobby. I think a lot of times people get involved in investing and they focus so much on the front side of the deal that they never really think about how you're going to actually run the business of having a rental property. And make no mistake, it is a business. You've got policies, you've got procedures, you've got structure. Most importantly, you've got a lot of laws and potential litigation if you don't know what you're doing. And I think the challenge is a lot of times we focus all of our money and our time and energy on the deal, meaning what are the monthly returns going to be? What is the cash on cash return? What is the acquisition cost? The LTV? And what happens is we don't really factor in the management cost of running it. Now that cost could be a management company, so you can get a third-party company to manage it. The other cost is your cost. So if you don't want to hire a management company, you need to factor in what is your cost and how do you price that correctly. Because the biggest challenge I think we all have as entrepreneurs, as business people, is we don't value our time. We're willing to do things for free because it's a property that we own. We're willing to kind of do those things that maybe we shouldn't do because it's a property we own. But if you were hiring someone, nobody would do those things. So you have to ask yourself, if they would not do that for the price that you're doing it at, are you actually not having a profitable business? And a lot of times what happens is we don't want to do that, and we have our lives, right? And maybe you've got a rental property and maybe it's in your neighborhood or maybe it's further away and you're not really sure how to deal with it. So sometimes you just don't deal with it. And it's kind of a nuisance. And maybe when the tenant calls, maybe you don't call them back, or you get upset because they're calling you on the weekend or whatever. But the reality is you're running a business and there's no one actually running that business. And it can come back and bite you. And I know a lot of people that have gotten in trouble. As a matter of fact, 1 out of 3 landlords are in some form of lawsuit or litigation for violating the laws every year when they own a rental property. So rentals are great. It's a great way for passive income. It's a great way to build wealth. I think it's fantastic, but I've also learned, and I've learned this firsthand, that if you don't treat it like a business and you treat it like a side hobby, it will not work. And it actually, when it comes back to bite you, it can bite you very big. And that can be in the form of, a lawsuit or the IRS, as far as commingling funds and what you're doing with that. And, nowadays you've got emotional support animals, ESAs, service animals. You just have a litany of things that could come back and bite you. So when you have a rental property, remember, create some policies, create some structure. I recommend that you do that before you actually buy the property. Create the plan and the strategy that's going to get you to the goal of what you want instead of just buying a deal. My biggest problem when I bought a bunch of properties is I had no plan, I had no strategy, and I just started buying stuff because they were great cash on cash returns on paper. The reality was they were not great deals because they didn't fit the lifestyle that I wanted to live. These were very hands-on properties. They were very time-intensive properties, and there was a lot of things I had to do with them. So again, these are just some things that you really want to think about. First of all, come up with a goal. Why are you doing this? What is the reason I'm doing this? Am I doing this for a hobby? Am I doing this for quick cash? Am I doing this for long-term wealth? What is the reason? And when you think of that number, put a date on it. So for example, you say, I want to have my retirement by 2030. Now you have a goal, you have a destination that you're going to, and you're focused on going to that goal. Next thing I would say is, you got to come up with a strategy. Make sure that whatever you're looking at a deal, that deal matches the goal. And more importantly, the numbers align. So again, real estate is math, right? When you own a property, it is a mathematical equation that you are buying a property for X, it should return Y, and maybe it'll appreciate for Z. And whenever you're looking at a property, there's no emotions involved. It is a mathematical equation, and it is definitely something that you do not want to put your personal opinion or judgment in there. The numbers are going to dictate whether or not it's a good deal, not your opinion, not your past history. And then you use people around you as support to give you advice. And real estate investing, owning properties, investing, flipping, all of these are actually team efforts. There is never anyone, I've never read a book when they say, if you want to be rich and you want to be wealthy, do it all yourself. spend as many hours as you can a day. There's no such thing, right? So it shows that the only way that you truly are going to get wealthy is by having people around you and understanding leverage. So again, start those goals, know your destination of where you want to go to. Then what you do is you create that strategy that's going to get you there. That strategy is going to help you identify which properties you are going to buy and which ones you are not going to buy. So that's how you can identify whether or not it's a good deal or a bad deal based on your goals, not based on maybe the goal of the guy selling you the property. You know, you ask the guy selling the property, is this a good deal? Of course, they're going to say, yeah, it's a great deal, you should buy it. But does it match your goals? So, you know, again, and also most importantly, remember, you are running a business. You need to have a business plan. You need to have a structure. You need to have roles. This is something you're getting into. Just because you live in a house is not the same as renting a rental property. You are now creating a business. I tell people, you are buying 4 walls and a roof. The operation inside those 4 walls and the roof, that is actually the business, and that is the business model. And why that's so important is that's actually the business model that's going to get you the return day after day, week after month, month after month, year after year. It's the business model that's going to actually get you that return, not the 4 walls on the roof. So I know a lot of people that have got great deals and ended up running them into the ground because they had no idea what they were doing, because they didn't know how to run the business. So they bought a deal that was going to be a 30-40% cash on cash return. It was going to be fantastic, but what happened? They ended up losing it all because they didn't know how to run the business. I always tell people, anybody can get a good deal, right? You throw enough lowball offers out there, eventually one is going to stick. That really means nothing. Once it sticks, how do you actually realize that money and get it back to you? So that's what I want to talk about, is make sure you're running it like a business. Make sure that you think about it before you actually, you know, money goes hot and you actually own that property. And think about how you're going to get that return out of it. And what is the end destination? Where are you going with it? What's the end goal? So hopefully this helps you understand that you are a business, you're running a business. Think of it that way. Don't think of it as a hobby. Don't think of it as anything else. Think of it as a business. This is Steve Rozenberg. We'll talk to you guys later.